A fool's market is what they're calling it. According to sources across the board, they are suggesting that this rally is just not sustainable. Too much hype has been built up into this move, and we are waiting for that nasty contraction. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and mad love to all my guys in the States. It is a bank holiday in the United States, so the markets in the USA are closed, but they are kind of still open, but we just don't have that flavor like we normally would. We've got a lot to talk about today, guys. Why is it a fool's market? More importantly, why is China's next move going to pretty much dictate what's going to happen with the world's economy? We're going to be diving into that very shortly and how that can really bring some flavor to crypto. More so, we're going to be diving into Bitcoin price action. We can see Bitcoin's pulling a nice little flavorsome move. Hopefully, it does actually sustain itself. Now, we know Monday usually is a bit of a false move according to the hybrid system, but I'll welcome a false move to the upside if Bitcoin can sustain it. So we're going to find out which levels Bitcoin could actually turn from and whether or not this 30K zone in the chart is going to be the ultimate resistance, or is it going to be the start of maybe? Well, I don't even want to say it. Mad love and respect, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get with the flavor. Thank you so much for passing through. Let's have a conversation, guys. All right, then. So, mad love, what is good? You can hear me. I'm sure you can hear me. I've got nice sound. Everything is good. Now, check this out. Right now, we have got Bitcoin pulling off a very interesting, flavorsome move to the upside. Now, I'm just pulling up the higher time frames for a split second, and you can see the weekend has been a little bit treacherous. We haven't really had that much movement to the upside with Bitcoin. They've just sustained their gains from last week, and they're holding out. Now, we've got this little red vector candle region right here, which, given that we have got a nice recovery of it, we're seeing Bitcoin starting to struggle a little bit inside of this zone. Now, the dreaded 800 EMA is close by, so we've got to be very cautious. This is an area that Bitcoin historically likes to reverse from. If they can sustain a better move to the upside and break the 800 EMA, then we're going to start working into the previous zones on the left of the chart, which were where the 800 EMA was. In other words, we need to try and find where traders' stops are currently at. Now, if we just mark off where those zones are, we've got a top side area of the range daily high with Bitcoin, which sits at around 27,250. We've got a couple of areas of interest right here with Bitcoin, which would naturally make us assume that investors, traders, you name it, they are all there getting ready for something. What does that mean? Well, it means that they're either going to sell from that point or they're currently trapped in longs, hoping that price is going to continue in that area. In other words, this is where value sits. Some of you might know this as a high volume node. And a high volume node is where most of the activity in that area and volume transacted at that point. So usually the principle says that price bounces to and from these areas of value. So we're going to be anticipating that if Bitcoin can sustain this move to the upside, we would likely try and come and test this 27,250 zone. Now, we've been following for a little while now this concept of the liquidations, okay? Now, we know at 28,000, there are a few liquidation points of retail traders who are sat in shorts, okay? Now, look at this. You have got a bag of them. Check this out, man. 28,100. You got $18.9 billion worth of short liquidations. If you are in shorts with Bitcoin, I would strongly recommend that you take some money off the table, okay? Just to see if they can actually come up towards that point, because there's no point in getting your shorts taken out at that point for them to only realize and then bring price back down again. So at least take some money off the table so you're not leaving empty-handed from the marketplace. But the logic suggests that if Bitcoin can hold and sustain this zone, we're likely to try and tap that 28,000 because it's the only next notable area of interest. So what do we mean by the market being fool's market? Well, look, this is the story right now. The bull market or fool's market, this is what they're talking about, and this is going to help you. What I'm going to talk about now is going to help you understand how likely Bitcoin's move to the upside can be sustained, okay? So you've had the tech rally. That's been going like crazy. NASDAQ and S&P just haven't stopped, all right? But analysts across the board are suggesting that this marketplace is delusional. They think that the market just doesn't care about what's going on. But what's really happening is the Federal Reserve has consistently increased interest rates non-stop. What difference will it make if they increase it another 1 or 2 times? That's where the market is right now. The market is effectively saying, you know what? So what, man? We know that interest rates are high anyways. We know inflation's coming down. They're going to reduce the interest rates at some point. So what is 1 or 2 more interest rate increases going to really do? So they chuck it all into the market. They park all of that madness about, oh, high interest rates going to squash the economy and what have you. Well, we've just had the debt ceiling sorted out. So we know that money ain't an issue. So that's where the market looks like it's going. It's being dismissive of what's going on. Now, what I'm about to tell you is going to help you put together the idea of why this news regarding China could actually serve cryptocurrency. So, not so long ago, you guys may or may not remember this article. Hong Kong bringing back retail crypto trading, and will China be next? So this is roughly around in June 2023, the first. So we know that Hong Kong is starting to allow people to start trading, okay? Will China follow suit? Now, check this out. You've got this story right here. Forget the Fed. China is gearing up to rip in trillions of dollars as the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, XRP, Cardano, and all the madness, they start swinging. Now, what does this mean? Well, China is looking to try and stimulate its economy. Now, if China stimulates its economy, given that it is one of the largest economies that the US really does rely on, if China slows down, USA is slowing down. And you can see that with the price of oil. Oil's taking a nosedive to the downside, okay? And even though OPEC has been cutting the actual amount of oil that is being pushed out to the world, it's all because China's not taking none of it because the economy's slowing down. So China's going to say, you know what, let's get the money printer and let's start printing that money. Now, if China does decide to do that, but given that they are so slow at doing it, an influx of cash will stimulate the economy and then it will start the process. And if people in China or Hong Kong, should I say, are going to start trading, that is naturally going to increase the idea of crypto adoption and people are going to start buying cryptocurrency because more money is being pushed out. And then on top of that, it could happen very quickly, according to good old Michael Saylor. So now they're putting out the price projections that Bitcoin's going to hit $500,000 with a market cap of around $10 trillion. Cool. But we need that activity to happen. Now, going back to the idea of the marketplace being a little bit of a fool's market, you have to understand something. China is pretty much going to dictate whether or not this bull market is going to work. Because a big cash infusion in China is going to then be pushed over to the world because the economies are going to keep on working. And that's what we want to hear. Now, of course, we're not going to be denying the fact that a couple of XRP gang, all right, they're all anticipating the deciding factor of this lawsuit. And according to sources, whales are starting to load up on XRP as we get close to the conclusion of XRP. So I'm going to look at XRP's price action right now. Quick time for you. So we'll go over to XRP, have a look at that bad boy. So they're talking about whales are accumulating. Well, all I'm looking for them to do is to accumulate to bring XRP back up to that 56 cents zone, because that is where the imbalance sits in the chart. Okay, this is a big run up and a big sell off in this zone. We would naturally expect them to come back into that zone, because even if the XRP hype does actually fall through and it works in XRP's favor, price will naturally come up towards this area and sell off from that point, because people will want to get out of their positions that they're trapped in and just try and, you know, scratch the trade, break even, call it a day. But then you'll get an influx of other guys coming in that will be like, yeah, baby, let's start loading up on XRP because the lawsuit is done and dusted. Okay? Again, look at all this area here with XRP. Big flavor coming in at that point. Are the whales accumulating? Or should we say, is Mr. Market Maker already loading up his longs? And we know that from this area here. We know that from this area here. And of course, we know from this area down here. There seems to be, if you split the chart in half, Okay, you've got red vector candles on the left, and we are now anticipating green vector candles to appear on the right because it's a cyclical phase. They are loading up, and then they're getting ready to release. That's what we're looking for, okay? Now, you may or may not know about what's going on with Binance. They've just dropped a market cap of $1 billion. We know this. This is all part and parcel. Binance is receiving a bit of a pain in the ass with the SEC and what have you. So there's all sorts of FUD, especially with Tether. And people are like, well, what we're going to do is, how can I be so confident in buying cryptocurrency if all of this madness is happening? Well, it's all about your perspective, okay? How long is your end goal with cryptocurrency? Are you looking to the future? Because whatever happens now is practically quite irrelevant. It's just news that's going to make people get rid of their positions, and then they're going to just repeat the process over and over again. It's how you translate it. If you're going to play the diamond hands game, please be responsible, okay? Because the market can completely rip to the downside without hesitation. But we know the market will come back up. Can you withstand that? That's the key question, all right? Now, parking the idea of bad news, we've had some good news regarding Colombia to pilot a CBD project on Ripple's XRP ledger. So we got a double barrel. We got the court case, and we've also got CBDC coming into play with Colombia. So that's good news for cryptocurrency. That's good news for XRP. Just solidifying the idea of XRP gang, okay? So if you're going to look at it and say, okay, this looks like really decent news, happy days. But the thing is, good news or bad news, we've had bad news, but the market hasn't really reacted that aggressively to it. I'll be honest with you, Bitcoin didn't really do that much of a bad thing when SEC and Binance came out and they were putting that court case onto them. It just didn't react. Even FTX didn't really rock the market that badly. Well, it kind of did, but it's recovered and it's back into the fray. We're now looking more towards the 29 mark, 28K mark, than anything else. And you can see that it's doing a good job. It comes down and it shoots back up again. And this is where people put the idea of value with cryptocurrency. I don't think Bitcoin could ever go to 28. I don't think Bitcoin could ever go to 50 or 60. It doesn't matter. These instances right here, you can see that Bitcoin does have the interest from people, okay? And that's what you want to be mindful of, all right? Now, moving on from that bad boy, we just need to go over to the stock market. So this is where the fool's market comes into play. This is the NASDAQ. And for the past, several weeks, NASDAQ has not closed negative at all for the last several weeks. And going into last week, they closed at the highest amount of volume, just shy of just below 31 billion in terms of volume. That is a huge amount. There's a lot of money that's gone into the marketplace. At the same time, is it really money going into the market? Or should we say, is it dumb money going into the marketplace? Going back to the idea of a fool's market. Here we go. Dumb money confidence chart is extremely optimistic, and the smart money concept says it's very pessimistic. That doesn't mean smart money is negative. It means smart money is selling into retail. We expand the chart up a little bit more, and we then try and work out, okay, so where are we at? Well, historically, when the sentiment chart is printing below this dashed line right here, it means that the market is going to turn. And we got ourselves a very interesting story right now because we are at 0.16. That is crazy. It is consistent with areas in the chart that they are going to reverse from. When will the reversal happen? What would cause the reversal? Or will it just happen out of nowhere? Will we get the transition that crypto's just going to do its own thing and the stock market will completely collapse? And that means people losing money in the stock market are going to turn to cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency goes up. Happy days. That's what you want to see, don't you? You don't want Bitcoin following the S&P. You want Bitcoin to do its own thing because technically it is its own separate entity. But when you're backing it up with gold, I mean, Saylor's talking about the idea that crypto or Bitcoin is going to surpass gold. Happy days. But if gold's going up and Bitcoin goes up, well, that's fine. But you want gold going down and Bitcoin going up to really say, you know what? It looks like Bitcoin is winning. Now, going into higher time frames, you've got Bitcoin doing a good job of holding this 200 EMA on the daily time frame. We are still stuck in this boring range, and I don't really expect much to happen today given that the market itself is closed in the US. We don't really have that flavorsome move. You're going to see some spiky moves up and down. It's not really going to be that decent today. However, what I do suggest you be mindful of, okay, is when we go into this week, we've got lots of news announcements coming out. All right. Tuesday is pretty much a free day, and we'll be waiting for New York to come back into the swing of things. Wednesday, we have Powell testifying. That's really important. He's just going to be solidifying, yes, we're going to keep on increasing interest rates. That's all he can say. He might mention something about the unemployment market, but other than that, we kind of know what he's going to be talking about. All right. Then that rolls over into Waller speaking, and then we've got other assets like pound and euro, unemployment claims, Powell testifying yet again, and then we finish the week off with just the flash manufacturing index data being served to us, all right? So we know that the flash manufacturing is showing that there is still there's expansion, but there's a little bit of a contraction. All right, so they've got projected reading of 48.5, which means that if it's below 50, it tells us that the market itself, what's going on over here? Oh, got a nice little order. It tells us that the market or the economy itself is contracting if it's below 50. If it's above 50, everything is doing good. All right, so we've got to keep an eye on that. But I'll be giving you guys a heads up regarding that anyways. So the 800 EMA on the daily time frame, it's still a problem for Bitcoin. And as optimistic as we want to be about cryptocurrency, if Bitcoin can't get above this 800 EMA, then it's pretty much toast. All right. Eggs and toast. That's what it is. Now, can we justify the 800 EMA? Well, look, 28,000 is the liquidation points for Bitcoin. All right. So cool. If they get up towards that zone, which at the 800 EMA is 27,577, they can succeed that zone and test into it test into that zone, we've got a better chance of Bitcoin continuing higher if they can hold out in this zone, because the only next logical point will be for them to come up towards this area right here, which sits around the 30K zone. We want that 30K region, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the thing. Now, the issue that we have got is dollar dominance. That's the problem. Dollar dominance seems to be doing its thing. It's trying to come back into this red vector candle region right here. And remember, when dollar goes up, all the assets against the US dollar go down. But it's looking like it wants to try and come down. It's finding a little bit of a resistance at the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. We zoom out and we see we got big pools of liquidity right here. And investors are anticipating that the next half of the dollar's decline is going to start happening very soon. So that's where we are going to be looking at assets such as euro. Euro's done very well to hold out in this range right here, guys. Doing absolutely fantastic. We're currently holding at the 50 EMA in the chart. It looks like it wants to hold this point. But again, the market is closed today. Well, in terms of the US session, so we don't really see that flavor. So you're probably going to see euro moving up and down. You can see it's already doing it anyway. And these are kind of like boring plays to be trading in. Okay, scalpers will have fun with it, but quite frankly, this up-down behavior is so boring. I just don't have the patience for it. I like the idea of a nice break lower. We got a vector candle zone right here. That could be a promise, but we're waiting to see if the bulls are going to come in or the guys looking to mark price higher and show interest in euro to see higher prices. So as long as euro's moving up, it improves the odds of Bitcoin moving up as well. Okay, let me just quickly go over into gold. Let's go over to gold for a second. Again, gold's doing very well to hold out in this area right here. It's on the 3-minute time frame, slowly starting to climb up. I would expect assets against the US dollar to try and hit their daily open today if the market is going to deliver us that nice flavorsome move. That's what I would be expecting today if we do get the move that I want. All right, that's whether or not Steve's going to be coming into the live stream or not. That's a different story. Go back into Bitcoin for a second, guys. I want to have a look at the Bookmap to put some perspective into where the orders are. So zoom out on the Bookmap. What do we have? Good old Bookmap, gang. All right, then. So we've got quite a few orders. Look at that. Frightening. So in this area here, there are a lot of guys that are prepared to buy Bitcoin. This is the VWAP, the white line right there. And currently price is trading above the VWAP. But what we're seeing is inside of the VWAP, we are witnessing lots of orders trapped. There are guys trapped up here. So guys are stepping in, getting trapped, saying, you know what, man, I want to go long, but the price keeps going down. It's not serving me at all. But this is where the interest is, this zone. This is what we would understand to be the last area of support for Bitcoin within this range. So if Bitcoin decides to start dropping, expect orders to be picked up inside of this zone between 26,200 and 25,900. Given that we got 722 Bitcoin orders stacked at this point right here between, it's like 25,850. And then as we go even further up, we've got around another 500 Bitcoin orders between 26,400 and 26,500. Logically, we assume that Bitcoin's going to hold this range to go higher to start tapping into the liquidity above. Look what's above there. We've got ourselves yet again, another player opening orders, canceling orders, and trying to remove everything inside of this area. It's absorbing liquidity, okay? And it's trying to put orders in and hoping people are going to come in and find an interest because this is where sells are. So we're waiting now because Bitcoin is ranging out. That's the problem that we've got. It's ranging out in this zone. Who's going to win? And what you've got to ask yourself is the following. What are they spending more time doing and not following through with it? So the logic would say that if Bitcoin is going to continue higher, I want to start seeing Bitcoin moving away from this area because you can see that they're building positions all below the key 27,000 zone. So if you're in longs and you want to buy something of value, you're going to buy it at the lowest point. So below the 27,000 would be a logical thing. Hypothetically, you would then anticipate price is going to try and come up and break through that zone because you're building your longs below 27,000 to see price break through that zone and go higher. That is fundamentally what we are expecting from Bitcoin today. Okay, cool. Let's just go into some altcoins and have a look at what's going on across the board. Altcoins that are hitting the marketplace with volume above 10 million, OP/USDT. I want to just keep an eye out on this because a lot of altcoins will usually start to do reversals around this time. Here we go. Nice little flavoursome move right there. Big green vector candle coming into play, recovering the red vector candle and pulling back. Just having a look at what's going on my side right here. Euro starting to come down a little bit. That's fine. Dollar dominance seems to be coming into play. Now, we've got this big red vector candle up here at 1.174. Just be mindful, it is an accumulation phase. But also, look, the imbalance is all the way up there again. So ultimately, we would want to see this breaking out from this zone with some profit-taking region around the 1.173 because investors that are trapped inside this area here, hoping that their long serves them, they're going to try and take some profits at this point right here, which is naturally where you're going to expect price to come up, to retrace, consolidate, and try and break higher. That's what you'd be looking for with this asset. Going into another asset, we've got SFP. What's going on there? Here we go. What I'm looking for with this, guys, is I'm looking for opportunities to try and do shorts or longs. Here we go. 1 hour time frame SFP, 42 cents. Got a big wick right there. I would only expect them to come back up and recover the red vector candle region right there. So that'll be a good sign that the market is favoring higher prices. Given that the US session is now closed, we don't have the pressure of a lot of sell orders coming in and not even the pressure of buy orders. So volatility is going to be thrive, but it's going to be done with low volume. So again, be careful when you are trading these sorts of ranges, okay? Now, moving on from that, I'm just going to have a look. LINA. LINA's been doing something. Someone spoke about LINA today. Here we go, LINA. USDT. Whoa, wow, this guy can't even spell. Okay, then, here we go. So, LINA, nice move up. Coming back down, holding at the daily open. Got this area here that's a bit of a problem for me. And if LINA, how are you doing, bro? If LINA's going to start breaking down, if it doesn't, I mean, if it invalidates this zone right here, then logically we would assume that the pattern's going to start coming into play. So we've got a drop, retrace, continuation to the downside. And the only last area of support in LINA could be this zone right here, which they've already tapped but moved away from. Let me just go over to Ethereum for a split second. Have a look at that bad boy. What time are we on? Okay, cool. The market will be opening very, very shortly, and I have to do an exit. Got my daughter quite a bit this week, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Ethereum. So I've got lots of lines drawn on here, and we remove everything. So Ethereum has done great to hold at its daily open. This is really good. Look, when Ethereum holds its daily open in line with the psychological ranges, look at the psychological range. You see these two zones right here? These are two very important points in the chart. This is where they build their positions. Usually at the start of the day, they like to drop prices before they anticipate to bring them up. Well, they've been dropping prices for quite some time with Ethereum, and now we're looking to see them try and come back up again. Ethereum's got this full red vector candle zone that we would expect them to try and attack. Why? Because this is where market maker built his longs, and he's only going to naturally want to recover those zones one more time so that he can then start the same business of building his longs from this zone. And if he doesn't find the interest he wants from there, we're only going to see Ethereum break even higher towards this zone. So my narrative says to me that as long as price of Ethereum and Bitcoin holds above the 50 EMA on the daily, on the 1 hour time frame, we need to see them break above this cloud right here, which would then dictate price is going to continue higher. That's what we're looking for. Let me just go back into another asset and go back to XRP, starting to show some interest, guys. We're starting to see some flavor. What time is it in the marketplace? We've got now 4 minutes. I'm just going to go over to the futures markets, have a look at what they're faring. Okay, so we've got NASDAQ coming down towards 15,225. Okay, we've got lots of vector candles right here. At any point, they could turn from this point, so just be mindful of that. Let me just go over to the yields, have a look at the yields. Yields are still trading. Look how close we were to our projection, 4.8 on the yields, still trading at 4.7. Remember, when the yields are high, it means the government's trying to advertise investors to give them their cash so that they can start working that money, and this is the yield that they're getting back, 4.7. You put $1 million down, you get 4.7% back, happy days, but you think they're putting $1 million? No, they're putting it in the excess of millions. Okay, even billions. And that's going to be costing the United States government quite a bit of flavor. So there's going to be pressure on them to generate the money. Okay, we go over to the bonds market itself. Bonds are holding out, still at 96, not really good, but there's consolidation. Okay, and we've already know that Powell suggested that they're going to be reducing the balance sheet. They ain't going to be picking up that many assets anymore. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for the marketplace. But more importantly, the volatility index. As long as this bad boy keeps on going down, we're going to have problems. Why? Because the market is just naive. It doesn't care. This bad boy keeps on going lower and lower. It just tells you investors are just going for it and buying up anything that they can. And when the volatility index gets to a very wild extreme of complacency by investors across the board, that's when you start seeing the reversals happen. That's when you start shorting like crazy, when this bad boy starts to make aggressive moves back up, okay? The logic says that when it gets below 20, it's a point where you must be aware before you buy, because everything is at its highest price. So they encourage you to not buy, but the opposite of that would be to short, because you don't want to be buying when prices are dropping, because that's what they teach people. They tell people you buy when it's rising. No, you don't, because smart money sells when it rises. So what do? You buy when it drops. You all do it now with Bitcoin. You're all screaming for Bitcoin to go lower and lower so you can get it cheaper. Deep down, you're all mini market makers yourselves, because you're going into the game with the idea of waiting for price to drop so you can pick up more, because you're attaching the idea of, why am I going to pay 28,000 for Bitcoin now when I can wait a couple of months and pay 10,000 for Bitcoin? Okay, that's the logic that people have. So why is it any different in trading? Why should it not be the same when it comes to any other investment? Why are you going to wait for it to go up in value? But that's where psychology comes into play, because you look at this and you say, oh my God, what if Bitcoin from this price point now decides to go to the upside and completely take out the 30K zone, completely take out the 40K zone, and start ripping it apart and start giving us that 100K mark? You're going to feel like, you're going to feel like a shoe bag, all right? If you've missed out on Bitcoin from 26 all the way to 40, I mean, come on, man, you ain't going to wait till 40 before you decide to do something about it. You've only got to look at the daily time frame to assume that if Bitcoin's going to keep on moving up from this point, and that this is the low for cryptocurrency, and the bull market is going to start even all before the halving and what have you, we really need to see Bitcoin break this zone, 48. That's what we need to see, to say, you know what? Yeah, baby, Bitcoin is on the way for some flavor, some moves up. We don't hit 48. Now, I'm just throwing out some just logic here, okay? To get you to understand where you could be. If Bitcoin makes it to 48 from this point, that sustains, and The S&P's dropping, NASDAQ dropping, gold dropping, and Bitcoin makes it by itself 248 with no influence. That tells you that Bitcoin's doing its own thing. That is what we want to see Bitcoin doing. Unfortunately, it follows the S&P. If the stock market takes a nosedive, Bitcoin takes a nosedive, all right? If news about cryptocurrency comes in and it's horrible for cryptocurrency, S&P moves up, Bitcoin goes down. And that's the truth. And that's where we are right now. Okay? So just add caution to caution when you're looking at these sort of price points right here. And you're saying to yourself, should I buy? Should I not? What am I going to do? I don't want to miss out on the potential for Bitcoin to keep on climbing up. Where are we at with the time? Ladies and gentlemen, the market is open and no one has told me. What's going on with you all? I don't believe it. We've missed out. Here we go. What we got? Bitcoin started to bring some flavor into the chart. It's Monday. The markets are actually closed and Bitcoin's bringing us that fire. Where's my extinguisher? Oh, there we go. Do we need to bring it out, ladies and gentlemen? The extinguisher. Do we have to bring this flavorsome thing? I'll blow up all my screens because I'm about to go for it. Here we go. So what have we got? Any orders coming in? Not really seeing the flavor just yet. Still got that commitment down below. Lots of sell orders are coming in. We've got an imbalance of 17% at the top side on the book, which tells me that sellers are actively coming into the book to sell, which is going to encourage price to keep on moving higher. We got a nice little algorithmic order play right here. We got 1, 2, 3. Got 383 Bitcoin orders at 26,900, 27,100. We got 576 Bitcoin orders, and at 27,000 we got 608. So the idea is roughly around just shy of about 2,500 Bitcoin orders, all in around 27,100. We really want to see Bitcoin start making a move higher so we can start eating that liquidity at 28K. If we don't get that zone today, these short traders are going to be laughing in your faces saying, ha, you thought, but you didn't, so there you go. So that's the issue that we've got right now, and that is what I'm looking for Bitcoin to try and do today, man. You've got the liquidity. It's sat inside of that zone right there. I'm looking at this volume profile that we have got. I'm just waiting to see. Psychological high problem that I've got, guys, is before 27, we've got the problem of the psychological high acting as an area that they can sell from. This is the situation, all right? Again, like I said to you before, when you are in a situation where you're working out whether you buy or sell at a specific point, so you buy, you go long, you sell, you go short, do not go long when it's at that point, because that's a point where they previously sold from. Now, conventional wisdom would suggest that it's a resistance. Now it becomes support. Just because it goes with it, like resistance now becomes support, and then support becomes resistance and all that jazz. Don't just look at it like that, because the same guys that thought that same logic when price came up to here paid the price and price ripped back down again. Okay? That's what you got to be careful of. And this is what they're trying to brew right now. Are they going to get the same guys that were here, that thought that this was going to be new support because it was a resistance that was broken? It did break. It came above it. Enough people got committed, which is why price just took a nosedive to the downside. Okay? The logic says that they're going to try and go back up to that point. Psychological high tells us that they could sell again from that zone. You are looking for Bitcoin to break aggressively away from that zone. And the way it becomes a true area of support is once it breaks it, comes back into it and holds. You're looking for, logically, you're looking for green vector candles to appear in this range, okay? And if you see a red vector candle appearing, but it doesn't break down and recover the whole of the vector candle that's come up inside of this zone here, then that could lead to a green vector candle continuation zone. So just be mindful of that. A green vector candle continuation zone is something like this. So here we go. Let me find you this on the 15-minute time frame. Let me give you a decent green vector candle continuation just so that you guys can understand it clear as day. All right, this is a small one, okay? No, I'm not going to use that one because that's not going to really help you guys. I want a green vector. Here we go. Right. Look at this. This is a green vector candle continuation zone. Look at this. So you've got a move up. The same principle, yeah? Price goes up. What are you doing, bruv? Price has moved up. It's now come down. All right. Now, we know price has gone up. Yeah, I get that. But what I want you to be aware of is the development of the play. Because, look, we're now on Friday. This happened on Friday. Why is it not the same that's happening right now with Bitcoin? That's what I'm trying to say. The idea is that you train your eyes to be aware of what could be developing in the chart. Okay. So with that being said, what's going on there? Okay. Nice vector candle right there for euro. Cool. So here we go. Green vector candle continuation zone. That is it right there. Where they come back into the vector candle, okay? The red vector candle comes down but can't fully close inside of that zone. Let me just get rid of this bad boy here. It can't fully close, okay? So that shows me that there's interest. The green vector candle to the left of the chart's been recovered, but there's still a bit more, but they've continued to keep price away from it. So they've moved up in price. They've then started to mark price higher, and they broke the zone up there. And they continued away from it, all right? So now we look at the chart and we say to ourselves, where do we see that happening? Well, they did the same thing right here. Green vector candle continuation, and then they moved up from it. Look, they moved up towards that point. Cool. Didn't really move that much, but they still moved away from it. And if Bitcoin makes a move like that and you're going long in this area and you're grabbing yourself, what, a $500 move in Bitcoin, happy days. That's the flavor. Now we go over to this point right here in the chart. Let's go reset. Nice. What have we got? We've got Bitcoin. Same story now. So we've got green vector candle continuation zone right here. You've got a nice, strong vector candle wick right there, which they fully recovered, which is good news for us. Okay? We need that recovery right there. Now you've got red vector candles coming into play down here and here, but not breaking down from this range. Psychological low seems to be a promise in the chart. It's telling us that they've attempted to sell from that point and they're not doing it because at the start of the week, they tried to sell from that point and they didn't succeed. That's the point that they tried to sell from, but they bounced away from it. They then come back to that point, trap the traders who were looking at the support and resistance because that is now support. No, it's now resistance. Cool. What a perfect time to reverse the chart. Cool. All these guys, these orders right here with these wicks that are appearing is because investors are like, oh my God, is it now support? And oh God, is it going to be a support? I don't know. Let's just take the trade. They take the trade. They get bullied up and down, get shaken about. Price moves away from it. And then they control the range with this sort of behavior right here. Okay? That's the idea of the move. So the logic says that we are expecting Bitcoin to keep climbing higher because they've done the business inside of this zone. All right? Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, mad love and respect for passing through. If you've enjoyed that little masterclass session, there's plenty more of that on the website on tradersreality.com. Check out the Patreon and you'll get access to that and you'll be able to learn more about these sort of strategies in the hybrid system. I'll be checking in with you all tomorrow for that same old fire with good old extinguisher. Mad love and respect, guys. Take care of yourselves and trade safely. Peace.